Hi guys, Chess Learning for Life here, back with another video. This is game 4 of my first classical tournament, and I'm one of 3 and going into game 4. So today let's look at me playing with the black pieces, starting off with d4. I just hate going against d4, and then he takes me to the Nimzo Indian, but then he already takes me out of prep with this g3 move. Like, all these games I've been out of prep except for even game 1 I was caught out of prep, and here I went for this principal d5 and c5 to dismantle his strong center. Here keeping attention, and here apparently e takes d5 is better, because if knight takes, then you open up the bishop, but if you take with the pawn, then it's only heading into a pawn, and after takes, my piece activity is compensation for the IQP, but I didn't like the IQP, so I took the knight, which is not wrong exactly, but it is a slight inaccuracy. After castles, bishop e7, a3. Now the computer is urging me to take, saying after knight takes, I can take twice and then castle, but I just don't understand with these openings of these lines. And you remember game 2, I was beaten up just like this, like the double fianchetto with the very active queen. But I guess you can drop your knight back to trade off pieces, but instead I just went castles, and you see this a3 preparatory move was very strong after b4, coming with tempo, gaining some space in the queen side, and also preparing bishop b2. And I just don't want to deal with the double fianchetto bishops like how I lost in game 2. So I just went back with my bishop instead of taking this diagonal by bishop b6, and just traded the bishop off. Now his only fianchetto bishop is targeting my queen side, which is not as strong as this bishop. And also after takes, this kind of forces knight bd2. Rook a2 is also an option, but then you run into rook d8 and your piece coordination is kinda messed up. But now I have a little sneaky move, knight c3, which forces his queen to e1 to protect e2. And this knight move also prevented knight e4 ideas. And here I went for e5. I took a lot of time calculating this, and I think I like it, because if your knight moves, I just play e4. And now where do you place your knight? So h4, then I come d4. Now your pawn's gone. And if you go g5, I also go knight d4 because you can't take. And now I'm threatening to take here and take. And here I also came through rook c1, which I also thought e4 was okay. But I think I kind of missed this knight g5 move. And here it was just takes, and then f5, expanding and just locking his bishop away. But I don't really think I have an advantage here. I just wanted to open up my French bishop. Here a better move, computer says, is a5. Now, this is a very good opportunity to play a5 because you can't play b5 to dismantle my knight. And here, if you don't take, I'll take you. So after like takes, now you isolate this passed pawn outside. Wait, it's not even passed. You just isolate this pawn and make it a target. But game continuation, e4 was kind of the downfall of my opponent. Cause why e4 and block your bishop away? Now I play bishop. Wait, no, I play knight b5 first. I'm like using my time to reroute my knight to this d4 outpost. And here if a4 I just hop in. And b5 I had knight c2. Knight c2, queen d1 you don't take. Cause if you take, then if I take, then my knight gets taken and my knight is trapped here. So after like takes, now I'm losing everything, right? I lost 2 minor pieces for a rook. So here I was planning to just hop the other knight in. And so if you take on d4, then I take back. If he comes here, then this pin wins. And if he goes rook c1, I was planning to take, and then knight d4. Because now knight d4 works, because after takes, there is no immediate e5. This is very important. There's no immediate e5. So therefore, but you can still play e5 if takes, then rook c4. But then you won't go for that. And this is a passed pawn isolated though, and this gives chances for both sides. But he did not go for this a4 complication. It was his best shot because now he gets tangled. Here even bishop e6 was good. Knight e3, and then I hopped the knight in. But I just thought like I wasn't making any progress after knight cd2. But looks like I can still hop the knight in and just, yeah. Instead I went for bishop g4, which is also kind of juicy. Here computer saying knight e3, bishop takes, and then knight d5, deflection tactic, and this solves the tension after queen moves, bishop takes. But still I get this very nice outpost, but he also gets an outpost in return. But my knight is better because later I can dismantle his knight with knight e7. But first I need to look for these fork ideas. But here he went queen e3. At first glance it looks okay, and I also thought it was okay, and then I went into deep thought right here. I didn't know if I wanted to hop the knight in. I was calculating hop the knight in and then both knight sacrifices. If the C knight sacrifices, then I have this takes or bishop takes, and then I have fork. And if this knight takes, I just take back, and he can't take because I have knight 3 check, and he has nothing right here. So this was actually okay. If he takes on d4, I take back, and then this knight is very strong. And I was also looking at f3 ideas, but seems like bishop e3 or even bishop d7 does the job. But I kind of miscalculated here and went rook a d8. I selected the A rook. Like, the A rook could potentially go to C file, but I selected the A rook because my F rook would like to go to the E file to give further protection to my E5 pawn later in the future, so I can like mobilize my knight and my queen. Here, I didn't think he had any reply. He went knight a5, but here h3. I did see h3 because if I hop back, he just hops right in front. Now this looks kind of bad for white, but it is holdable. Another thought was bishop e6, but seems like rook ac1 just holds, I guess. But he somehow went knight a4, I don't know why. And this just gave me an opportunity to hop in with my knight, and my plan succeeded, right? And here I was calculating lines like rook a2. Wait, no. Like knight takes b7, but here just after takes, you can take my queen. I mean, you can take my rook, but after rook takes d8, or even just giving up the whole rook and hopping the knight in, because this is very strong. And here now I take back and I get 2 pieces for the rook, and I'm winning here. Now he went for immediate knight takes. Of course I take back with the knight. I don't fill the outpost with the pawn. This would be a major mistake. And here, does this even work? No. After takes and e2. Now he's strangled. But here even just queen d3, and you can't dismantle this queen. Although a queen is a bad blockader, but it happens to just work in this position. So no, I took with the knight. And here, if he thought he had any counterattacking chances, rook b8, knight c5. Now phantom threat, because I thought here, after maybe the queen moves somewhere, I take, and then he has a fork, but then my bishop is here, right? So knight takes b7 doesn't work. He here went for rook a2, which is just bad. Like, I saw this as a very passive move and it just doesn't work. f3 may still hold after here queen e2, knight takes, pawn takes, and then queen d6, because now there's a fork right here, which I kind of didn't see in the game, but I think I should have figured out because I had a lot of time. And he was down a lot of time because he was pressured, which is very normal stuff. And just queen d6, and my knight is temporarily trapped, but I'm up a knight for a rook, right? But here rook a2, just a very good tactical finish, b6, and pinning the knight. And here even knight takes, and then coming here is also very another way to of this tactic. But I just went here and I was up in exchange, and the conversion stage, it was kind of he kind of fight back and put some little pressure on me, but everything was fine. I trade off the queens because I understand that if I go into a pure rook versus bishop endgame, I'm obviously winning because of these two weaknesses. There's no fortress here, and here bishop f3 blunders another pawn. Here a5 just everything works. a5 I calculated like b5, and if he goes for my pawn this way, I come here, and if he goes for a pawn this way, I come here. Just guarding everything and saying your bishop can't do anything, because everything would be in the dark square. And here g6, very nice, getting off the back rank. h5, king g7, and nothing's happening. h6 kind of got me worried. I was thinking of king f6, but then I was worried of rook b1, rook h8, so I just took. And he doesn't have any play, as you can see. Like after g5, it was kind of inaccurate, but it was still fine. Getting my king off of the edge of the board. And here he was threatening bishop f5 and rook takes h7, right? So let me demonstrate here. I had to sack my rook, but even after this is still winning. But I just went for king g6, h5, check. There's no Pedro here. I just traded pawns like this, and rook b2 was kind of unnecessary. He could have taken, and I would have taken here, but I'm still winning. And he played f3, but saving this pawn doesn't matter now, because now my pawn rolls. Your rook is offside, and here g4 was just a passing move. Rook d1, no Pedros, and here he resigned. My pawn is promoting, and yeah, 2 of 4 now, 50%. Very nice win. If I didn't win this, I would have just honestly quit. Like, just kidding, but this was a very nice bounce back, and I kind of punished my opponent for making that e4 committal mistake and just put my pressure into the end and waited after a long time to get that b6 and bishop pin idea and successfully won game 4. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like and subscribe for more chess content. Stay tuned for game 5, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.